Welcome everyone to a very special career strategy session. Tonight we have Zena Thomas, who is the author of The Savvy Girl's Guide to Getting the Job. I absolutely love this book. There's so many great gems, but tonight Zena is going to share with us 3 gems from the book. So Zena book is a really good read. It's a quick read, something that you can go back to over and over again when you have a job interview. So I want you to get ready to take some notes. You have my handle here. You have Zena's handle on the screen. If you have any questions tonight at all, use the Q&A box on Google Hangout. Zena has a very, very special gift for the ladies who attend tonight. If you attend tonight, make sure you go over. This is for the people who are viewing this live. And tonight is April 27th. It's 7 p.m. If you're attending this live, I'm super excited. She's going to give away 1 free book. So what you need to do is head over to hersavvycareer.com/3gems to enter to win the free book. So without further ado, let me tell you a little bit more about Zena. Zena is the woman behind Her Savvy Career blog. She's behind the Instagram account and the social media presence. So all of those great nuggets that you get every day, she is the person behind it. So just to give you a little bit about the book, The Savvy Girl's Guide to Getting the Job will help you no matter where you are in your career, take the steps necessary to land the right job. Throughout your career, you will find yourself looking for a new job several times. But by using the lessons taught in this book, it becomes easier. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Zena to the Google Hangout.
Hey, everybody. I'm so super excited to be here today. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my book and my experience and background and wisdom in the world of HR, management, leadership with your community. So I'm so excited to be here. And if anybody already follows me on Twitter or Instagram, you know that I'm very responsive. So go ahead and tweet me up at Her Savvy Career on Twitter or at Her Savvy Career on Instagram. I would love to answer any questions you have live about the book or about getting the job. So super, super duper excited about that.
So Zena, right before we hop in, can you give us your background? What got you started with career development and just being an awesome blogger in general?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I had no idea a year and a half ago I'd be a blogger. I went to school for business and marketing, worked for Singular Wireless. So I know I'm dating myself for most of you, but I worked for a cell phone company. And I just found that instead of helping customers, I'd rather help employees and help them find what makes them happy at work. So, I got into human resources and I loved it. I love helping others either enjoy the job or deciding that they don't like the job and need to find a new one. So about a year and a half ago, I was following a couple of blogs about gossip blogs and celebrity blogs. And I was realizing I'm going to the same blogs every single day. And I heard that these blogs were blowing up and they were making all this money off a blog. And I was thinking, I can do that. So I thought about starting a gossip blog, and then I realized I don't really care about this stuff. It's entertaining, but it's not my passion. And I am passionate about helping other people succeed at work. So that's when I decided I'll write about what I love. And when I was coming up out of school and entering corporate world, there was so much I didn't know, and I wish people had told me. I wish somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, hey, Zena, you shouldn't wear that, or hey, Zena, you can't do that. So I thought it'd be best for me to share my experience from the other side of the desk, the other side, recruiting and hiring, and telling you guys everything you need to know to get the job. Real talk, no chaser. So that's Her Savvy Career, and that's how that was born in February of last year.
Wonderful. So we're about to jump into it. I just want to remind you that you can ask questions through the Q&A tool right here on Google Hangout. So the 3 gems that Zena is about to unpack for us is it's important to like what you do. Preparation is everything, and you have to find the right job for you. So Zena, take it.
Sure. So let me first explain what a gem is. I like using the term gem. So I think a gem is a precious piece of information. It's like a nugget, something that you take with you wherever you go. You know, when you get that rock, girl, you don't take it off. You have it with you forever. So, you know, you have those quotes that stick with you. You have those things that your mom or your dad or your mentor told you that you keep with you forever. That's what I want to share with you. And the three that I'm going to highlight today are liking what you do and the importance of that, the preparation, and then also finding the right job for you. So as I mentioned, my advice comes from my experience in recruiting and being a hiring manager and being an HR professional dealing with employees on an everyday basis. So if you have any questions, go ahead, jump right in and ask. But first, let's start off with number one. Liking what you do. It's so important. You really cannot undermine the importance of it. You're not going to love every job you have. And I had a lot of jobs that I hated. But it's important that you learn from every experience. And it is about the journey. You want to take something away from each job to help you determine what you do and what you don't want to do. I'll never forget. My mom told me, when you're more sad than you're happy at work, then it's time to roll out. It's time to find a new job. You know, we're not indentured. So, you know, if you're at a job and you're not happy, then that's when it's time to look at yourself and see what you can do to change the situation. So you have to be willing to take responsibility for you and what will make you happy. Is it going to be finding another opportunity in the same company, looking outside of that company? Is it going to be finding a new line of work? I know that I was in sales. I worked for Enterprise Rental Company. Everybody knows that job. It kind of sucks. It sucks. I mean, you're wearing a suit, you're washing clothes, washing cars in a suit, pantyhose, heels, and it's just not fun. And I cried every day. I went home crying because I hated the job. And I decided that I had to change my situation, that this is not what I wanted to do. So although I was good at it and I was making money and I was on the top of the sales ranks, it wasn't what I was passionate about. And I decided that I was going to find a way out of this hole to find what I was passionate about. Because of course you have to pay the bills. So you have to determine, how am I going to pay the bills and find out what I want to do at the same time. Okay. So you also want to look at your career field. So are you into math? Are you into accounting? Are you into marketing? How can you do that either at the job you're at, or create your side hustle, create another opportunity based on where your talents are, based on what you want to do. It's so important, because you can't separate work and life. It's the same. You know, they talk about work-life balance, or, you know, once you leave work, things change. Not really. If you're unhappy at work, you're going to be unhappy at home. So I don't want to undermine or underestimate the value of career happiness. And it's something that the sooner you start to determine what you want to do and what will make you happy, then you can create career happiness and create a better, healthier life. So that's gem number one.
So Zena, this is awesome. I am tweeting away as you're talking, getting some great tips. To our viewers out there, just want to remind you, if you have any questions, hop on the Q&A here on Google Hangout and ask your question to Zena. You can also tweet, because I'm on Twitter, I'll help answer your questions. But Zena's looking at the camera, so I can ask those questions for you. But use this Q&A. So Zena, I really like how you shared how it is important. Even if you are a top performer, you may not be passionate about that job. And it's so key to be passionate about it. So from that, and I read about it in the book, and I think you give some fabulous tips. Take us a step further. Take us to the second gem. I think we froze there for a second, so we're just gonna give Zena a second to hop back on and come live. Just want to share with you all, like I said earlier, the book is a quick read. You can get it from Amazon.com. You can also get her book on Barnes & Noble. I got my book in the mail within 2 days. One of the things that she talks about is in the very beginning of the book. Where do you find a job and when is the time to look? So Zena's going to be back with us in just a second. I see that she's frozen, but this first part of her book is absolutely phenomenal. It covers the first gym. So I'm just going to read from you one section here from the foreword. It says, while you are young in your career, take time to explore other departments in your current organization. You don't always have to look elsewhere in order to find your calling. The company you are with could have positions that would fit you well if you only did a little exploration. Regardless, if you're just out of school or looking to move into your first professional role, this book will guide you there. So I think that's absolutely stellar. It's phenomenal that Zena just captures that in this really easy to use, to apply book. One of the things that I love from Zena's book is some books that you read, they're riddled with a lot of examples, and you have to sit there and read it 2 or 3 times to say, oh, well, what did that mean? And what was that about? And I didn't really get that. No, this book is something that you can apply right away. So in her first gym, she talks about why it's important to find a job that you like. And similar to Zena, early in my career, I faced a similar situation where I was a top performer at a large telecommunications company, but it just wasn't the perfect fit for me. And how did I find my calling and my passion? One of the things that I recommend that I did was I took a Strengths Finder assessment. It's a really good assessment. So that's one of the things that you could check out if you're unsure of what you should be doing. Now back to Zena's amazing book, because I absolutely love it. And I want to remind you, if you go to hersavvycareer.com/3gems, Zena's going to be giving away a free copy of her book tonight. So make sure that you head over to her website and put your name in to enter a free copy. So as we dig a little bit deeper into her book and we're waiting for her to reconnect, I want to share with you another thing out of Zena's book. It says, when it's time to look. Have you ever found yourself just working for the money to pay your bills, but not as something you're passionate about? This is her first gem that she just talked about. So you're doing okay, you have a job, and that's a blessing. However, arriving each day at work without motivation other than a paycheck, this situation is actually better than what I've heard others complain about, hating their job. In my opinion, if you fall into either of these categories, having no motivation at your job or hating your job, then it's time to look for a new one. But just in case it's not crystal clear, let me give you a few flashing red signals that it's time to look for another job. So again, like I said, Zena's book is full of tips that you can implement right away. We're waiting for her to reconnect, and she'll be back with us in just a second. I see her coming on here. So this is chapter 2 of the book, where she talks about when is it time to look. These tips, again, can be implemented right away. One of the things Zena talks about in the book is when you feel overworked. That's one of the red flags and the signs that it's time to look for something else. Another sign, when you're underpaid. So many of you who follow me, you know that I just did this huge workshop for equal pay day and negotiation. So some of the tools that you can use to find out if you're being paid fairly is go to salary.com, glassdoor.com. Also, you can check sites like PayScale and talk to folks. Talk to people in your industry and find out what they're paying. Another red flag that it's time to look for a new job. Again, these are all tips from the Savvy's Girl Guide to Getting the Job. You're underappreciated and you're not happy. So I'm sure you can relate to maybe 1 or 2 situations where you might have fallen into these categories. Zena's not talking about one isolated incident where one day you didn't get something that you wanted. What she's talking about is a constant feeling, this constant feeling of dread that you may have going into the job. So what do? you start looking for something else. And I really love that first gem from Zena. And she's coming back on, and I see her popping in now. Just want to talk to you about chapter 3. Chapter 3 really resonated with me, and it's chapter 3 is the non-negotiables. And yes, she got the non-negotiable terms from the Millionaire Matchmaker. I love Zena's practical advice. When she says here, when you pick an employer, you're entering into a new relationship. And she is absolutely right. You're definitely entering a new relationship when you join an employer, when you join a new organization, because you're spending 40 plus hours a week there. So it's really, really critical that you hone in on your non-negotiables. So one of the things that Zena notes is, I want you to note that your non-negotiables will change over time. As you become more experienced, as a professional, you will have the ability to add more things to your list to be more decisive when you're at work. Another thing that you have to determine is the job that you're going to do, your industry, your title. Think about your pay and your benefits, and even the location. Zena is texting me. She's coming back on. I apologize for this pause, but we love technology. I guarantee you that Zena has some awesome tips to share. And another thing that Zena talks about with non-negotiables is culture. And I just want to read another section from her book because I think it's absolutely stellar. Culture. In which corporate cultures do you thrive? I found out early on I was best in fast-paced, energetic, always changing environments. Organizations, in contrast to that, just don't fit me. So one thing that Zena encourages the readers of the book to do is she wants you to look back on your past work experience and see where you have liked working and where you didn't. Another thing Zena says is you will never truly know a work culture from the outside looking in. So Zena is back with us. Zena, I just did a recap of chapter 1, 2, and 3. So you can pick it up on gem number 2.
Thank you for holding it down for me. So sorry about that. Technology, but I'm back.
So take us into the gem number 2, Zena.
Gem number 2, preparation is everything. I talk about this so much, and Jacqueline, you know that this is my thing. You're all about it too. In person, even the virtual interview. So you can check that out on your blog, my blog. But preparation truly is everything. And sometimes we talk about preparation in terms of just getting ready for the interview, but there's so much more to that. You have to know what you want. You cannot go looking for a job willy-nilly. You can't just say, I'll take any job. You have to know what you want. You need to know the type of job you want, the type of industry you're looking to work in, the type of companies you prefer, how you like to work, the cultures, all of that good stuff. And you need to be prepared to talk about that at a drop of a dime. You see somebody, maybe you're at Chipotle and you're standing in that long line waiting to get lunch, and you spark up a conversation. You should be ready to talk about your job search then. Hey, hi, I'm Zena. I'm passionate about helping people find career success. I'm looking for opportunities in these industries. You should be ready to talk about who you are and what you want to do at the drop of a dime. That's the first point of preparation. Secondly, in preparing for your job search, you have to stay organized. That is the key to success. I truly believe it. I created a job search template that allows you to put in information on the jobs you apply for, your contact, point of contact, where you are in your job search. You want to be ready to talk to somebody about the job you applied for at the drop of a dime. If they call you, you don't want to be like, HR who? HR what? I don't even remember what job I applied for. So if you keep an organized job search, that'll help you in the long run. Also, I recommend you doing some pre-search prep. So you know you're ready to start looking for a job. What should you do? Clean up your resume. Of course, you're going to tailor your resume to the jobs you apply for, but you need to go into your resume, put your current job, make sure if there's something that needs to fall off, take it off. If you need to update your objective, update it. Have somebody look over it as you begin to go into your job search, even before you start. Also, call your references. If it's somebody that you haven't talked to in 5 years, you need to call them and say, hey, I'm looking for a job again. Would you be my reference? Reach out to them via LinkedIn, let them know what you're looking for. Ask them, will they be a reference? Do not assume. Make sure you have the updated contact information. And it's simple, but it's important. Just make sure you're in your game mode. Make sure your resume is tight. Make sure you're able to be contacted. Your voicemail is hooked up. Your email is professional. You need to be in job search mode before you go into your job search. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, it does. So one of the things that I like that you just mentioned is we absolutely have to touch base with those references. Yeah. I cannot tell you how many times I got a phone call and someone asked about an old colleague. Well, I haven't worked with this person in several years. So it's not that I didn't give them a good reference. It's just, it took me a second. I'm like, oh, Sarah. Oh yeah, I remember Sarah. We worked together 3 years ago. See, the person on the other end of the phone,
exactly. I'm the recruiter and I'm calling you and I'm like, oh, she doesn't even know who Sarah is. Real talk. I just don't know. So that tells you that although you may give a glowing reference, that tells me that Sarah didn't do her homework. Sarah's not keeping in contact with her network. When you really come into your own as professional, you're keeping those strong ties. I know my top people that I can go to for a reference, and they know me as a professional, and we keep in contact. No, we're not chatting on the phone every week, but throughout the year, they're staying in touch, I'm staying in touch, and they know Zena off the top. So it's something to remember when I say you get in that job search mode. You should be prepared and make sure your people are prepared too.
Absolutely. So we have about 7 minutes left, so I want to get to our third gem. So take us into it. I love this section of the book.
Okay, so the right job for you. This is what it's all for. It's all about finding the right job for you. Let me tell you something. You're in a power seat. You're interviewing for jobs, but they're interviewing you too. It's like a date. It's like a relationship, like a romantic relationship. You both need to want each other. You both need to like each other. And ultimately, throughout the relationship, you both need to want to make it work. I know this sounds familiar. So you want to make sure that, when you're courting and when you're dating, you're looking for the things that are important to you. You don't want to go into a relationship without having an idea of what you want, without realizing what's very important to you. So you need to have that foundation as you, start and as you interview. And I know we all feel intimidated by interviews and feel like the interviewer is in a power position, but sometimes we have to take a step back and look at the interview process or the courting process, which is the job application search process, to determine if the company and the job is right for you. Your entire job search experience and job application determine with interactions with organizations, the people that you'll be interviewing with or the people that work for the company, so that you can make an informed decision when it comes down to getting an offer. And you wish and you will be in that position where You might have several offers. And like I say, if anybody follows me or knows me, I'll say, I'll never go back to wearing, I can never do business casual again. I mean, I'm a business professional because that's not the type of culture that I want to work in and I'm not comfortable with. It's because I'm comfortable in myself and I know what works best for me. I know that if I had to wear a blazer every day to work, so, that's one example of how you're deciding what job is right for you. You need to determine what's important to you. It could be the commute. It could be the money. It could be benefits. It could be management style. It could be culture. All of those things you want to who's in deciding whether you accept an offer, whether you even decide to court. And it's okay to decide in the middle of the courting process, well, they're not calling me back. They're not interested. The recruiter was rude. The interviewer wasn't polite. I don't want to work with her. It's okay to sever the process at that point. So I would like us as savvy professionals to take the power in our hands and really determine the opportunities that are right with us. And it all leads up to building, a strong professional character, filling your toolbox to be able to have that power. Of course, we all need to pay the bills, but along the way, you're building this equity in yourself to be able to make these decisions so that you can determine the job that's right for you and seal the deal on the company that's a good match. And then once you seal the deal and go into the opportunity, you want to go into it with a positive mind, open to new experiences, really to have a long-lasting relationship together and create a game plan to take your career to the next level. That's what it's all about, right?
Absolutely. It's all about taking your career to the next level, knowing what's your non-negotiables, the things that you absolutely want. And I love that section in the book. I know we have a few people watching online. They said we were freezing a little bit. So I want to invite you ladies to ask your questions via Twitter or Google Hangout. Kashara, I just replied to your tweet on Twitter. So Zena, I do have one thing to say before we get into Q&A for these next few minutes. If you're okay, we can go over a few minutes just to get the questions. So
yeah.
From @2movesahead on Twitter, the question says, at her savvy career. Yes, it says, any tips on negotiating? How, when, how to prep?
Okay, so negotiating, and I'll be honest with you. Well, I'll keep it real. I've been in HR for like almost 9 years now, and I didn't really think about negotiating until I started seeing candidates negotiating and other people negotiating, and I'm thinking, wow, I need to do that. So in negotiating, you want to look at what's important to you, and whenever you're approaching somebody in leadership, you want to go with the business case. So for instance, if you're going in for money, say you need more money because either it's not to market, your value is more than what they're offering, because when you go look for a job, you should know the range, right? So say if they say, example, 50 to 60, and you say, okay, I really would like to make 60, of course, or 52. And you're like, well, that's too low. I expected a certain percent of my next pay. You want to go in with data. You want to say, I would like to negotiate. My salary expectation is 60K based on the market, based on my experience, based on whatever. And be willing and open to negotiate. The one thing I like to use is say, hey, if this is out of the range of opportunity, let's do a trial basis. How about, we'll start off with the starting pay of 52, and we'll do a review with the contingency of if I'm meeting or exceeding expectations in 6 months, we'll move it up to, say, 58. So you have some skin in the game, they have some skin in the game. Who can say no to that? The other thing is not just salary. So vacation is money. And a girl like me, I like the vacay. So, when you're taking time off and you're getting paid, the company is paying you. That's worth some money. So if you can't get the money or you don't feel comfortable going with the money, then negotiate vacation. And I'll tell you, one thing, I will never accept less vacation than I have. So once you get up in those 3, 4, 5 weeks, you're not going to go back to 4 weeks. You're not going to go back to 2 weeks again. And any HR leader, hiring manager will totally understand. It's just not reasonable. So never leave that on the table. Always negotiate vacation. And then the other thing is negotiate on flexibility. Get those work from home days. Get that flexible days or minimize your commute, leaving early, all of those things, because guess what? When you're working from home, you're not spending gas, you're not wearing tear on your car, you're not on the trail, and
yeah, I absolutely love that.
So,
and yes, because Shara is saying yay and giving us the good face on Twitter, so that definitely answered her question.
Good. I'm sorry for rambling on, but I love that question because I didn't know it back in the day, and I want you guys to know you can definitely negotiate.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, ladies, we're coming to the end of our time. I want to let you know, if you have any questions that didn't get answered today, you can connect with Zena. She is Her Savvy Career. Follow her blog, follow her on Twitter, follow her on Instagram. If you missed it earlier, the special announcement is Zena is giving away a free copy of her book. So, if you want to get your free copy of the book, all you need to do is head over to hersavvycareer.com/3gems to enter. So I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. Zena, thank you so much for sharing the 3 gems from your amazing book, The Savvy Girl's Guide to Getting the Job. Absolutely love it. This is a must-have book. Ladies, graduation season is coming up. So if you have anyone graduating, make sure you grab a copy for you and them. Zena, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us. I'm a huge fan of your blog. Keep producing excellent content. Keep being you. Keep keeping it real. And have a great night. The replay of the video is going to be live soon.
Thank you.